Hello everyone, I'm Robert Hoffman with Veterans Guide. I'm back again to answer some questions that we've identified for VA disabilities on Reddit. All right, let's get to our first one. Our first Reddit question is from Texas Ranger 80. I'm retiring on June 1st, 2025, and I submitted my VA disability paperwork to my VSO in February. At this point, I'm trying to decide whether I should continue working through my VSO, file the claim myself, or consider using an attorney. So I'll start off by answering that question with, if you understand the processes and you understand your medical references and what would help you get the rating that you deserve, you can file the claim yourself. You cut out the middleman and you're able to take care of yourself. If you don't understand the processes or some of the guidance that's needed, a VSO can be very helpful. The only thing is they're not specifically to you. They're helping many veterans either file appeals, file claims, do the initial, or guide them through processes and stuff. So you won't get so specific help with your VSO, but they are a great asset to filing a claim or an appeal. If you hire an attorney, you're gonna get a very specific and handheld guided process that will get you through everything that you need to do in your claims or appeal process very quickly. And they will stay on top of it, and it's really a one-on-one, and they understand the process from beginning to end. If you're considered an attorney, I would look at our VA accredited attorneys at Veterans Guide, and we are always looking and eager to help every veteran we can. For my second question, I have Simple Procedure 894. How do you guys deal with appointments and work? I want to look for a new job, but I'm worried about getting fired because I mentioned my VA appointments, but they seem iffy on it. Any advice? The biggest advice I could tell you is that one is your health and your claim is going to be very beneficial to you, so it's very important that you get your appointments done. As far as worrying about getting fired and possibly losing a job, it is something that will always be at risk. They're not supposed to release you due to medical stuff, but we know that some cases that happens. I would just try to balance it the best way you can with communication and balancing your work time and your appointment time in a manner that may seem beneficial so you can get what you need done with the VA. All right, now we're on to our next one. This is from an anonymous poster. Wait, so you can be at 90% if your rating is at 84.5. Let me show you the math. Come with me. Now, let's do some math. Let's start with this 90% right here. So you said 84.5. We take that 0.5 and we round it up, you get 85. 85 rounds up to 90. So that's where we get this 85 to this 90. Let's go ahead and take a look at 94.4. The 4 rounds down and you get a 94, and that will then round down to the 90. So when we're looking at this, you need a magic number of 94.5 to get to 100. But for 90%, you're sitting at this 84.5 to this 94.4 that will always equal 90%. All right, we're going on to our next question by Keep Faking It. That's a good username. If I filed for a supplemental claim on my headaches, will the VA touch all of my other disability claims or just specifically that one claim? When you are filing a new claim, you are poking the bear. When you poke the bear, they may react in anger. So in this situation, the VA may reevaluate every single condition that you have. If you're sitting at 80, 90 and you're trying to get to that 100, then there's a chance that they're gonna reevaluate you. I've known of personnel going in, they're at 70%. They poked the bear for a supplemental claim and they turned around and they went from 70 to 50. Because some of their conditions, the VA considered them fixed or in a better state. And then I've seen people go from 70 to 100, revalidating their initial conditions, and then of course getting their supplemental claim processed. And then there's times to where, even though you poke the bear, they don't really go back through and assess everything, and they stick to that one claim or that supplemental claim that you filed. So you have a great chance of either or, But you got to understand that anytime that you resubmit an appeal or a supplemental claim, you raise the risk of having a potential lowering, or you can have an increase. All right, our next question is from Curious Dig 1569. I just got my 100% rating, but all my ratings are static. How is P&T calculated? Is there a threshold I'm not reaching even though I have 100% rating? So when we get into the 100%, you're either 100% P&T or you're 100%. For me, I'm 100% P&T. When you're 100% permanent total, they consider you 100% from that point on. You will not have a reevaluation. They won't reconsider different things. You don't have much to worry about when it comes to your 100% P&T. There is a 100% non-P&T where you don't have that permanent total, but you are 100%. So you're getting the benefits of the pay and everything else and the benefits of being 100%. But you can go back in for reevaluation. If I'm correct, it's about every 5 years. They can pull you back in to have a reevaluation of your conditions to see if you had better or not. One of my best suggestions is that if you are facing conditions that are always constant, the best way to get that P&T is to consistently visit the VA in regards to your medical health, and then that'll be on file within the VA. And they're more than likely on your next 5-year evaluation to, hey, these conditions have been consistent, he's been in the VA, let's bump him up to P&T. So that's my thoughts on it, and that's from experience that I've had. Hope that helps. All right, my next question is from Drock Block. How long does it normally take to hear back when submitting a spouse for CHAMPVA? This process, I did it myself. My family is on dental and vision through CHAMPVA. It can take roughly 30 to 60 days. It really just depends on what area you live in and the VA and their workload. But mine, I want to say, I think we had it within 15 days. So it can be a quick process, but they always say 30 to 60 days. So just get it done as quick as possible and they'll get you loaded in and your spouse will get CHAMPVA as soon as possible. All right, moving on to our next one. We got beginning outcome 300. Just got granted 100% TDIU. Congrats, by the way. What does this mean? Does my wife get educational benefits now? Do my benefits change? Or is it just a pay change? When you get 100% TDIU, for those who don't know, usually you have a rating, we'll say above 40%, usually sitting about 80, and then you get TDIU, which you're totally disabled, and you become 100% permanent total at that moment. Your wife receives every benefit that a 100% total and disabled person would get. So DEA, educational benefits, they can, at that time, they're allowed to use CHAMPVA and many different other aspects. And it does change the pay because now you're at 100% permanent and total disability pay. So if you were at 80%, now you're going to receive 100% payment. But it also does come with restrictions. When you're on 100% TDIU, you can only make a certain amount in the year. So 100% P&T is better, but if you have troubles getting out on your regular rating, but you can receive 100% TDIU, that is also a great route to go. But it does limit the income that you can make. All right, we're moving on to similar patients 5352. I'm rated 80% with a 50% GAD, which is general anxiety, receiving Social Security and federal annuities. Can I apply for TDIU? So the answer is yes. You can file for TDIU through the VA. I would say the one big indicator that I would worry about is that on SSDI, you have an annual income of around $39,000 that you're allowed to bring in. When you're on TDIU, that decreases. So the most you can make on TDIU is roughly about $15,000 annually. So it really changes your income that you're allowed to make once you file and if you're accepted on TDIU. All right, so now on to our next question. We have tea with milk, no sugar. She says, I have reoccurring pelvic floor issues due to childbirth. I was also diagnosed with postpartum depression. Can these be claimed for VA disability? The biggest answer on that one is to ask, is it service connected? As long as it's service connected, there is no limit to what you can claim with the VA. You can file for any medical condition through the VA as long as it's service connected or a secondary condition due to a service connected illness or disability. So the answer is yes, as long as it's related to a service connected or during service issue that happened. All right, now we're on to our last Reddit question. I have Objective Speech 8632. If I'm denied for the 4th time, what do I do next? Do I get an outside agency involved? Being denied 4 times can be very rough. At this point, I would reach out to a VSO or I would look for an accredited attorney. If you're looking for an attorney, reach out to our VA accredited team at Veterans Guide. We're more than willing to help and we'll get you approved instead of going through a 5th denial. Well, that's the end of all of our Reddit questions. I really appreciate your time. Please make sure you like, follow, and subscribe so we can reach out to you more. If you have any questions about your VA disability or the VA process, please go to our subreddit at r/Veterans Guide and ask them there. And maybe next time you'll be on the next video and I can answer them for you. Have a great day. Thank you.